So let's just start with the headline number because it's kind of staggering.
$1 trillion.
Exactly. Maharashtra is aiming for a $1 trillion economy by 2028.
And, you don't get there with just small tweaks. That's a fundamental shift.
It's a total overhaul, isn't it? It demands the absolute supercharging of the entire state tech sector.
It's an undeniable pressure point for sure. But what's really fascinating to me is the strategy behind it.
Go on.
Well, Maharashtra is moving beyond just being, a big location where tech happens.
A recipient of investment.
Right. They're becoming a policy architect. They're proactively designing the entire framework, legislative, financial, the whole 9 yards, to make sure this growth isn't just random.
But structured.
Structured, achievable, and really deeply rooted.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We've got a pretty serious stack of sources today, all focused squarely on the tech and IT sector in Maharashtra.
All very current, too.
Very current. We're looking at key policy shifts, major financial commitments, and some really ambitious talent programs that span 2024 and right into 2025.
So we're getting a hard, late 2025 snapshot of what the environment looks like right now.
That's the plan.
And our mission for this deep dive is to really analyze the 3 core pillars that are supposed to be holding up this massive IT expansion.
And by extension, that $1 trillion dream.
Exactly. We'll start with the strategic policy and the economic leadership piece. Then we'll get into the weeds on the core infrastructure, the actual hardware layer.
The physical stuff.
The physical stuff. And finally, we'll look at how they're trying to build the future talent pipeline through some very targeted skill initiatives.
All right, let's start with the hard numbers. I think they really set the stage for why confidence in Maharashtra is so high right now. The state isn't just a big player.
No, it's become the gravitational center for investment in India. It's undeniable.
So what does the data actually say?
Well, the data points are pretty compelling, and they really act as the foundation for all the policy moves we're about to talk about.
Okay.
If you look at foreign direct investment, FDI, our sources show Maharashtra commands the highest share, a whopping 31% of all FDI inflows across India.
31%.
And that's for the period from October 2019 right up to September 2024.
So that's not just a slight lead.
Not at all. I mean, that kind of dominance, it just screams confidence to global investors. It signals stability.
And it's not just big established foreign money coming in, right? The startup scene is just as hot.
That's where it gets really interesting. You're right. It's not just foreign capital. As of January 23, 2025, Maharashtra has the highest share of startups recognized by the government of India.
And what's that figure?
24%. Nearly a quarter of all recognized startups in the country.
Wow. So think about that for a second. The state is leading in both massive traditional capital investment and the disruptive high-risk startup scene.
At the same time, it shows an economy that's mature enough to handle the legacy industries, but also agile enough to, foster that next wave of innovation.
And that confidence isn't just an idea. We're seeing actual money being approved.
1.35 lakh crore in investment proposals have been approved. And that's not just a press release number. That's earmarked capital ready to go.
Which I guess validates that the market believes these policy reforms are real and are going to stick around.
Which takes us directly to the policy itself, the cornerstone, the IT and ITES policy of 2023.
And this isn't just a minor update.
No, this is the blueprint. This is the definitive plan for the next decade of tech growth. The ambitions in the document are huge.
I mean, they want to be a global IT destination, which is one thing, but they're also drilling down into specific niches like AVGC.
Right. AVGC animation, visual effects, gaming, and comics.
That's a very specific target.
And a very smart one. It's a high-skill, high-value sector that sits right at the intersection of content, media, and technology.
It leverages their existing strength in the entertainment industry in Mumbai.
Exactly. You take that strength and you apply a modern tech lens to it. The goal is pretty clear. Become the technology capital of the country. They want to dominate the entire digital stack, from cloud services all the way to creative content.
Okay, so ambition is one thing, but they have to back it up with money.
Right.
With actual incentives. What are the major carrots the policy is offering?
They're focused on the big 3 operational costs. First, you've got a stamp duty exemption for IT and ITES units. That lowers your initial setup cost right away.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, and this is absolutely crucial for the huge infrastructure projects we're going to talk about later, a specific electricity duty exemption for data centers.
And electricity is often the single biggest line item for a data center.
By far. So that exemption alone is a massive competitive advantage.
And the third word?
Additional Floor Space Index, or FSI, for IT parks.
Right. FSI is basically just a technical way of saying developers can build taller, denser buildings on the same piece of land.
Which increases the profitability and makes these huge IT campuses more viable. It's a physical and a financial incentive rolled into one.
That density, though, brings us to what I think is maybe the most radical part of this whole policy.
Zoning flexibility.
The zoning. It's a huge shift, isn't it? It feels like it bypasses decades of restrictive urban planning.
It's a major structural change. The policy allows IT and ITES units, these integrated IT townships, and this is the really controversial one data centers, to set up shop in any zone.
Any zone. You mean that includes residential zones? And it even says non-development or green zones.
Any zone.
I have to ask, what is the trade-off there? I mean, politically, environmentally, is the state just signaling that IT growth trumps literally everything else?
That's the critical question, isn't it? And the policy seems to answer yes. It's a philosophical shift. IT is no longer treated like a heavy industry you have to stick out in some industrial park.
It's being treated like a clean utility.
Like electricity or water. The trade-off they're clearly willing to make is, well, they're sacrificing spatial constraints for economic velocity. They're removing a massive bottleneck to investment.
But a data center uses a huge amount of power and water. Putting one of those next to a residential area, that has to create new headaches for local governments.
Oh, absolutely. Enormous challenges. It requires really high standards for noise mitigation, for environmental compliance. But the policy's assumption is that this kind of decentralized IT infrastructure is necessary for the next phase.
Especially if you want to make every city a tech hub, not just Mumbai and Pune.
Exactly. It pushes that decision-making down from the state level to the local implementation level.
And to make sure that this new, deeply embedded infrastructure is stable, they've given IT and ITES units essential services status. Why is that specific legal term so important?
Essential services is all about guaranteeing operational stability, business continuity.
Okay.
Legally, it means this infrastructure is treated with the same importance as, say, hospitals or the power grid.
So, in a crisis,
they get preferential treatment. It also protects them from certain labor disruptions and mandates continuous operation. For a global cloud company that needs 247 uptime, that's an immense guarantee of reliability that you don't get in many other places.
So if you connect all these dots, the policies are clearly designed to leverage their financial leadership, that huge FDI, the startup density, while simultaneously just ripping out the physical and operational barriers.
And they're not just painting with a broad brush, they're specializing. The focus on fintech is a perfect example.
Leveraging Mumbai's history as the financial capital.
Of course. And Maharashtra is cited as the only state in India with a dedicated fintech policy.
And they back that up with an actual government body.
They did, the Mumbai Fintech Hub. It's designed to be an accelerator and a regulatory sandbox for fintech startups.
So they're trying to make sure that the disruption from financial technology happens through Mumbai, not around it.
That's the goal. It's a policy framework designed to architect growth, not just react to it, across space, finance, regulation, everything.
Okay, so that policy framework is the software. But software is useless without the hardware to run it on, so what are they actually building? The scale of investment here, especially in data centers, is just, it's mind-boggling.
It is, and data centers really are the factories of this new economy.
Let's zoom in on one specific deal. The sources highlight a massive commitment that was signed in September of 2025.
A monumental deal. A 30,000 crore memorandum of understanding between the government of Maharashtra and Lodha developers.
For what, specifically?
For a green integrated data center park in Palava.
30,000 crore, that's an incredible number. Why Palava, and what does green integrated actually mean here?
Well, Palava is in the Mumbai metropolitan region, the MMR, so it's close to the financial hub. But it has the space that, Mumbai Island just doesn't have.
Right.
The green integrated part is key. It reflects what global investors are demanding now, sustainability.
Right.
It means the park has to use renewable energy, super efficient cooling, advanced water recycling, all to reduce that massive energy footprint that data centers have.
And this wasn't out of the blue. It followed a government approval for these kinds of parks a year earlier.
Exactly. It signals a real commitment to sustainable digital growth.
And just to be clear on Lodha's role here, they're not running the data centers themselves, are they?
No, that's a great point. Lodha's acting as the developer. They're creating the specialized real estate, the secure buildings, the power grids, the fiber optic connections. for multiple global players to come in and set up their own infrastructure.
And take advantage of those electricity duty exemptions we were just talking about.
Precisely. This whole deal validates the state's view that data is the new oil, and you need industrial-scale refineries to manage it.
Okay, so that's the new stuff. What about the existing bedrock of IT employment, the IT park network? What does that look like as of late 2024?
It's a mix of public and private initiative. On the public side, you've got bodies like MIDC and STPI running 37 functioning IT parks.
And what does that represent in terms of investment and jobs?
About 18,000 crore rupees in investment, generating around 2.7 lakh jobs. That public investment provides a stable foundation.
But the real explosion, the volume, is in the private sector.
Absolutely. The latest data shows an approval for 628 private IT parks.
628. That figure is staggering, and it points to that decentralized growth we mentioned earlier.
It really does. While Mumbai is still crucial, the growth is spreading.
Where is it concentrated geographically?
Pune is leading the charge with 220 approved parks. It's really cemented its status as the state's main tech hub outside of Mumbai.
And then Mumbai and Thane.
Mumbai city and suburbs have 196, and Thane has another 196. But we're also seeing these new clusters popping up in places like Nagpur, Nashik.
Which is a direct result of that zoning flexibility. Tech can bloom outside the traditional zones now.
That's it. It spreads the economic opportunity.
And all this physical infrastructure, it's what's underpinning Maharashtra's status as a software export powerhouse. What are the latest financial results from all this?
The numbers are massive. Up to March 2024, the state's software exports hit 7,47,075 crore rupees.
Let me just translate that. That's hundreds of billions of US dollars in exports.
An enormous figure. And it's supported by a foundational investment of over 66,000 crore, which translates directly into jobs.
How many jobs?
About 23.65 lakh people. Nearly 2.4 million people employed directly in the software sector.
That makes it one of the largest single employment drivers in the entire region, maybe one of the largest in the world.
And nationally, its contribution is critical. If you look just at the exports going through the official STPI channels, Maharashtra contributes about 20% of all software exports from India.
Which puts them second in the country, right behind Karnataka.
Firmly in the number 2 spot. It shows they're maintaining their competitiveness and their ability to handle these huge global contracts.
Now, we talked about hardware, moving all those data center components and electronics. That needs a physical supply chain. The state isn't forgetting about that, is it?
No, that's right. They're simultaneously building out their high-tech ESDM parks. Electronics, system design, and manufacturing.
So these are specialized zones for companies that actually build the hardware.
Exactly. Assembling, testing, manufacturing. They're setting these up in key industrial zones like Ranjango and Talegaon.
So we're moving beyond just writing the code to actually building the machines that run the code.
And that requires really specialized logistics. So they've proposed these new integrated multimodal logistics facilities to streamline the whole hardware supply chain.
Where are those going?
They're being strategically spread out across Chakan, Talegaon, Bhiwandi, Nashik, Jalna, and Nagpur.
It's the final piece of the hardware puzzle, isn't it? You can't have a software economy if you can't move the physical goods efficiently.
Exactly right. They're investing in both the digital infrastructure, like that 30,000 core data center, and the foundational physical stuff, like logistics parks. They're set up to scale in both software and hardware.
Okay, so you have the policy, you have the hardware, but it's all meaningless without the people, the workforce. If the goal is deep tech leadership, you can't just have mass-produced graduates.
You can't. The talent strategy has to shift from just general education to very specialized skill transfer. And Maharashtra's approach seems to be focused on mass upskilling using industry partnerships.
Right, which brings us to these strategic skilling partnerships. The one in Nanded is a really great example of decentralizing this effort.
It's a perfect case study. The sources detail this major partnership between the Swami Ramanand Tirth Marathwada University, or SRTMU, in Nanded.
Which is not a major metro.
Not at all. And they've partnered with an organization called Skills Factory.
And the scale here is, it's not a pilot program.
No, the scale is genuinely ambitious. They're embedding something called the Digital 101 framework across a massive network of 400 affiliated colleges in the Nanded region.
400 colleges. And the goal is to upskill how many students?
1.5 lakh students, 150,000. It's a strategic push into Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. The curriculum ties into the National Future Skills Prime platform from NASSCOM, so they're pushing specialized AI and cybersecurity workshops.
So this isn't just basic computer class. This is trying to bring emerging tech literacy to regions that have historically been overlooked.
That's the idea. The challenge, of course, is maintaining the quality of teaching across 400 different colleges, but a centralized curriculum is supposed to help with that.
It's interesting, though, while they're doing this mass skilling, the actual path from the classroom to a career seems to be changing. There's a really interesting insight from industry leaders in our sources.
That brings us to apprenticeships.
Yes.
The insight from intra-IT leadership was a crucial nugget. Apprenticeships are fast becoming the preferred entry route for major firms.
Why is that?
Because it solves that age-old complaint from industry that new graduates just don't have practical, job-ready skills.
And the metric they gave to support this is almost hard to believe.
It is striking. These high-quality, mentor-led apprenticeship programs are boasting a 100% conversion rate to full-time roles.
100%.
Think about what that means. The industry isn't seeing the apprenticeship as just training anymore. It's a long, rigorous, but low-risk hiring process. By the end, they vetted your tech skills, your soft skills, your cultural fit, everything.
So it's like a self-correcting system. The training is so specific that if you complete it successfully, you are guaranteed to meet the needs of the job you trained for.
Precisely. It minimizes the risk for the company and maximizes the chance of employment for the student. It's becoming a much better bet than a purely academic degree for many.
And the government is directly supporting this emphasis on practical experience with a new scheme launched in July of 2024.
That's the Mukhyamantri Yuvakarya Prashikshan Yojana, or MYKPY.
What's the goal there?
It's designed specifically to bridge that gap between academic knowledge and workplace reality. It's essentially a state-sponsored internship platform.
How does it work?
It provides practical work experience training, usually for about 6 months, linking job seekers between 18 and 35, directly with industries, startups, even government agencies.
And there's a financial incentive for people to actually participate, right?
Yes, candidates get a monthly stipend through direct benefit transfer, DBT. The amount depends on their qualifications. Someone with a technical diploma gets more than an undergrad, for example.
Which lowers the barrier to entry for people from different economic backgrounds.
Exactly. It allows them to afford to take 6 months for this kind of crucial on-the-job training.
And if we just zoom out for a second and look at the broader numbers from 2024, the sheer volume of people going through these official training programs is huge. It's all about scale.
The scale is necessary given the population. So formal apprenticeships, you had over 32,000 candidates enrolled up to December 2024. But that's just one piece.
Then you have the massive, broad-based programs.
Right, like the Pramad Mahajan Kaushalya Udrojikata Vikas Abhiyan, or PMKUV.
That one's huge.
It is. Over 1.15 lakh candidates, 115,000 people enrolled in 2024 alone. Now, it's not all IT, but a big chunk of it feeds into the digital economy and the support roles that all those 628 IT parts need.
And importantly, they're not just training people to be employees, they're trying to nurture future job creators.
That's the entrepreneurial development training. Over 16,000 beneficiaries there in 2024. So the whole human capital strategy is, well, it's multifaceted. You have mass digital literacy, industry-backed apprenticeships, and government-funded practical experience. It's a holistic approach.
All right. We've got the policy foundation, we've built the hardware, we've started training the workforce. But that trillion-dollar goal, that requires innovation. You have to make the leap from just providing IT services to actually leading in deep tech.
And this is where we see the most aggressive financial backing. Huge driver here is a major central government scheme that was approved right in the middle of 2025. It basically reshaped the entire R&D funding landscape.
You're talking about the RDI scheme.
The Research, Development, and Innovation Scheme, yes.
So what does this all mean for Maharashtra's tech future? The financial scope of this thing is, it's genuinely hard to wrap your head around.
It's, quite simply, the biggest financial news for tech R&D this year. It acts as a massive magnet for research funding. The Union Cabinet approved it on July 1st, 2025.
And the total outlay is?
1 lakh crore rupees over 6 years. 100,000 crore.
And for this fiscal year alone?
For FY 2025-26, there's an allocation of 20,000 crore, just for this year. and it's designated solely to get the private sector more involved in R&D.
Yeah.
That kind of capital shifts national priorities overnight.
It has to be highly targeted, though. That amount of money can't just be for basic science projects.
It's very focused. The first goal is to get the private sector to scale up RDI in what they call sunrise domains.
Which are?
AI, deep technology, the digital economy. They want companies leading the charge, not just universities.
And there's a filter, right, to make sure it's commercially viable.
Correct. The fund only finances projects that are at higher technology readiness levels, or TRLs, TRL4 and above.
Okay, break that down for us. What does TRL4 actually mean?
It means the technology has already been validated in a lab. TRL1 is just the basic idea on a napkin. TRL9 is a fully deployed product. So TRL4 means the basic components work, the core functions have been proven in a controlled setting.
So they're not funding moonshots. They're funding things that are ready to move from the lab to a prototype.
Exactly. It de-risks the investment by ensuring a certain level of maturity.
And there's a mechanism for long-term financing, too.
Yes, a key part of the RDI scheme is setting up a deep tech fund of funds. This ensures there's sustained venture capital specifically for these highly specialized tech companies. A quantum computing startup needs a much longer runway than an e-commerce app, right?
That makes sense. What specific deep tech fields is this money targeting? This is where the future dreams are going to be.
The scheme explicitly names them: quantum computing, robotics, and space. Then there's AI and its application in agriculture, health, and education, and the broader digital economy, including digital agriculture.
So any research center or company in Maharashtra working on those things now has access to this massive, dedicated pool of capital.
Unprecedented capital. And this national push is complemented by the new research governance body that was set up in early 2024.
The Anisandhan National Research Foundation, or ANRF.
Right. The ANRF is creating the strategic framework that a scheme like RDI operates within. It's not just about science in general. It's about strategic national missions.
Like the MAAAEV mission.
The NAHAV mission is critical. It links R&D directly to a huge industrial transition. It promotes R&D in electric vehicle components.
Sure.
Since Maharashtra is a massive automotive hub, this makes sure that industrial base isn't left behind in the global shift to EVs.
And we're already seeing world-class results coming out of the research ecosystem, right? This isn't just about planning for the future.
Not at all. The sources highlight some incredible breakthroughs from the SN Bose National Center, for example, that show the caliber of foundational research already being done.
Like what?
For one, they had a real-world demonstration of quantum advantage.
Which is the holy grail. The moment a quantum device does something faster than the best possible classical supercomputer.
That's the one. Foundational stuff. Then, in advanced hardware, they developed these hybrid materials that can create artificial synapses for neuromorphic computing.
Artificial synapses. That sounds like sci-fi. What does that mean in simple terms?
Think of it this way. Your brain processes and stores memory in the same place. Traditional computer chips separate those things. Neuromorphic computing tries to mimic the brain. These artificial synapses are the materials that can learn and process information at the same time, leading to super efficient processing.
Which you need for running advanced AI on small devices.
Right, AI at the edge. And finally, they used AI to decode cancer pathways for personalized therapies.
Precision medicine.
Exactly. Using AI to analyze huge amounts of genomic data to tailor treatments to a specific patient. So you have quantum hardware, and AI application in health. A complete innovation stack is being built.
And the good news is that this innovation isn't just staying locked up in labs in Mumbai and Pune.
That's where the NIDHI program comes in, the National Initiative for Developing and Harnessing Innovations. It's actively working to decentralize all this.
How?
By expanding to Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. The numbers confirm it. They've set up 8 new inclusive technology business incubators, or ITBIs, and 10 entrepreneur and residence centers.
So they're building the physical infrastructure, the mentorship network, so that the talent being developed in places like Nanded has a local ecosystem to plug into.
That's the key, fostering that decentralized tech growth far beyond the traditional corridor.
Okay, so the ultimate test of all of this isn't just software exports or the number of data centers. It's how the state uses this tech internally to actually serve its own citizens. This is where the government's own IT arm, GADIT, comes in.
The General Administration Department of Information Technology.
Yeah.
They're the engine room. They oversee the state's internal IT infrastructure and all the e-governance projects. Their job is to make sure digital services are accessible, reliable, and actually used.
And when a government goes all in on digital, the first thing I look for is inclusion. Is the system built for everyone or just for the young and tech savvy?
The GAVIT portal actually shows a really surprising commitment to inclusivity. It has this robust, built-in suite of accessibility tools that are front and center.
What kind of schools were we talking about?
Things like high contrast settings, the ability to invert colors, text size controls, which are all vital for visually impaired users.
Standard stuff, but important.
But then it goes further. Text spacing adjustments, and most importantly, a text-to-speech function. That last one is huge for elderly citizens or people who struggle with literacy.
So they're viewing digital inclusion not just as a legal box to tick, but as a critical way to get more people to use their e-governance services.
It's good governance, but it's also just a smart administrative strategy. Digital access only works if it's equitable access.
Now let's talk about the physical side of this. The Apple Sarkar Seva Kendra, the citizen service centers. In a world that's moving online, the state actually has a policy to expand these physical centers.
It seems counterintuitive, but it's a critical nuance. It respects the on-the-ground reality in a state with huge rural and semi-urban populations.
What's the policy goal?
A document from March 27, 2025 is aimed at doubling the number of these centers.
Doubling them.
It directly counters the idea that everything should be purely online. It recognizes that people still need a physical place to get help, to get documents printed, to navigate a complex online form.
So they're like physical anchors for digital services, a bridge over the digital divide.
Precisely. And the policies supporting these centers are constantly being updated, which shows this isn't some forgotten plan.
We can see that in the dates.
Right. We have revised guidelines from February 14, 2025, and then more instructions issued as recently as July 24, 2025. It shows that e-governance is a live, constantly evolving system focused on getting those digital services to the last mile.
Okay, so to wrap this all up, this deep dive really shows that Maharashtra's IT sector in 2025 is being defined by two massive interlocking forces.
Both operating at a huge scale.
On one hand, you have these colossal, tangible infrastructure commitments. I mean, that 30,000 crore green data center park is the perfect example. It's a massive physical anchor for the digital economy.
And on the other hand, you have this really precise talent shaping, like embedding the Digital 101 framework across 400 colleges to upskill 150,000 students in Nanded. That's decentralized growth in action.
It's a very high-stakes, highly strategic ecosystem, isn't it? All aimed directly at that trillion-dollar target.
And this whole framework, it's supported by that proactive state policy, the fintech strategy, the 2023 IT and ITES policy, with that radical zoning, and it's being supercharged by central government money, like that RDI scheme dropping 20,000 crore this year for deep tech like quantum and AI.
The scale of the investment pipeline is it's not just in software, it's in physical assets, data centers, logistics hubs in Chakan and Nagpur. It shows a deep integration of digital goals into core economic and physical planning.
It's not just a digital strategy anymore. It's the foundational economic strategy.
Right.
Which does raise an important question, though. It moves beyond just policy success and into the risk of execution.
What do you mean?
If the policy is near perfect and the funding is there, then the biggest bottleneck becomes execution speed. How quickly can they actually build those 628 approved IT parks? Are the local bureaucracy and the construction sector ready to keep pace? The competition from other states is fierce. Speed is everything now.
Which brings us directly to our final provocative thought for you to mull over. The government made a truly radical decision in that 2023 policy, making IT and ITES units exempt from traditional zoning. They can set up in residential zones, even in green zones. So how might this radical spatial flexibility reshape the traditional city hub model? Will it lead to chaotic, unplanned urban sprawl? Or will it effectively turn every district center into a sudden viable tech cluster, fundamentally shifting the geography of work and wealth across the entire state? That's something worth thinking about, especially as those 628 parks start to come online.